Jerry Jones was asked, was this team a contender? And he said, with the way we are playing right now, we are not. And this is a guy who said if we aren't contenders, if we aren't champions, that this is going to be a different team led by a different head coach next year. And I believe they're on the path to that because if they play like they played tonight, Scott, they won't even win the NFC East.
What's happening? What's happening? I know why you're here. You come for the gospel, baby. And I'm going to give it to you. If you're looking at this face and listening to this voice, you are officially back on the hot seat. I'm your esteemed host, Smoke, and y'all know what we do on the hot seat. We set somebody's ass on fire. Who are we setting on fire today? We're going to bring my Dallas Cowboys back to the hot seat, y'all. Yeah, my Dallas Cowboys. It's time for their second quarter review. So let's get right to it, man. Paying homage to the ghost over my left and my right shoulder. Let's tackle the Dallas Cowboys. Or who are the Dallas Cowboys? The enigma that are the Dallas Cowboys. Like, I don't really know what to make of this team. First quarter, finished 3-1, right? Told y'all on the first quarter review that this next quarter is going to show us a lot about this team as it relates to, are they the upper echelon of the NFL? Are they the elite of the elite? Or are they just a middle-of-the-pack team, probably a pretender, playing contender? We're going to find out what we needed to know about them. And this second quarter wasn't good to them. This team, to me, still lacks identity. They went 2-2, playing the Packers, the Jets. They played the Giants again, and they played the Eagles. Beating the Eagles, beating the Giants. I predicted, I kind of figured they were going to lose to the Packers, but that goddamn New York Jet loss, whoo, that was embarrassing. That was embarrassing as fuck. And I think the final score was maybe 21-22, 22-20, something like that, but I didn't see the game, but from what I could gather from it, that score wasn't indicative of how the flow of the game actually went. It seems as if the New York Jets had control of that game from start to finish. Like, you look at Dallas having the top, I think they have the number 6 or 7 ranked defense in the league. How does Sam Darnold have a career game against a top 10 defense? Was that like an admiration, or was like as his coming out party? Because for all accounts, all intents and purposes, Sam Darnold fucking sucks. He didn't suck against Dallas, and that's kind of my problem. Not kind of, that is my fucking problem with this team. Like, what's your identity? And again, here's why I do these things in 4-game increments. It gives you a better landscape to view something. You're able to see things as it relates to progression, maybe even regression. As a team stands stagnant, you have a better sample size by viewing them in 4-game increments. So I look at them by quarters. That second quarter was lackluster. It was nothing to brag about. And again, you had a supremely embarrassing loss to the Jets. I think they were winless at that point of the season. I don't quite remember. But even when you look at, they looked great against the Philadelphia Eagles, but even when you look at the game against the Giants, they looked okay. Like, I know they blew the Giants out, but that's another game where the score really was indicative of how the game went. You follow me? There was the mistakes in that game early on. They kept shooting themselves in the foot, getting off to a slow start, and you're left wondering, what is the makeup of this team? What is the identity of this team? I think that, they want to control the clock. They want to run the ball, be efficient in the passing game, which they are. They have number 1 defense in the league as it relates to total offense. I think they're like 5th in points, something like that. Like, they have a very efficient offense. I think Dak's still number 1 in QBR. You just can't put your thumb on what this team is lacking, what this team is missing. There's something, when you watch the Dallas Cowboy play, there's something missing. And for the life of me, I can't figure out what it is. So that's why I said the enigma that are the Dallas Cowboys. When you watch this team play, you see spurts. You see flashes of, hey, man, this goddamn team could put it together. This fucking team could be lethal. But you don't necessarily get that. Like, I don't think when Dallas comes to town to play a team, I don't think they strike fear in teams. Like, when Kansas City rolls into town, you know you in for a track meet, and you better bring your fucking A game. When when the New England Patriots come into town, you know that you're probably going to lose, and if you are going to win, they're going to have to beat themselves. It's going to be hard for you to beat them when they're clicking on all cylinders, which is what they normally do. When Dallas strolls into town, or you come to Texas, not Texas Stadium, Jerry's World, you don't really get that aura or that sense of invincible. You don't get that sense of we're going to destroy this team or they're just going to impose their will. You know, as talented as this team is, that's the sense you should get walking into Jerry's World. That's the sense you should get when you step across the field and when you step on the field and you look across and you see the Dallas Cowboys, because there's so much fucking talent on that team. And I know the easiest thing in the world to do as a Cowboy fan is to point the finger at Jason Garrett. I get it. He's the whipping stick. I understand. Whip his ass to death. I don't give a fuck. But just as I asked questions before in relation to this, if you give him all the credit when they lose, who gets the credit when they win? Is he truly an incompetent coach? Like, it's easy for you to say it's his fault, but what actually is his fault? I pointed out during the game against the New Orleans Saints how bland and how predictable and how vanilla that offense looked. Because remember, the Saints didn't score a fucking touchdown. They still won that game, right? I pointed out to the fact that although the Saints disguised some things, there were no in-game adjustments. That's a Kelly Moore problem, right? Or at some point, when is when is Jason going to sit here and take over the reins and say, hey, I'm going to influence the play calling by telling you to do this? That's what a head coach does. He didn't do that. But when you look at other games, it's almost like, because I told you all in the Dallas Cowboy preview, you're going to have to get Kellen Moore an opportunity to learn and grow as a play caller. So maybe that's what they're missing. Maybe you're looking at Kellen Moore and thinking, you know what? This is your first year on the job. You're 8 games in. Let's see where you're going. Let's see if you're learning from your mistakes. Let's see if you're learning from the past. Let's see if you're going to progress as a great play caller, which they're paying you to be, right? It's the defense. The defense isn't dominant. You know, it's top 10 in the league. Like I said, I believe it's number 6 or number 7 ranked in the league. They're number 5th in points allowed. But they're not dominant. You know, you can move the ball against them a little bit. You can catch them napping a little bit, because there are areas in which you can attack them, mostly in the secondary. But for the most part, you have seen teams, namely the Green Bay Packers, be able to run on Dallas. And you're wondering, where the hell is this coming from? It's like, what are we missing here? On either side of the ball, what are we missing here? And not to beat a dead horse, but although I didn't see the game against the Jets, I know your ass got off the plane. That's all I fucking need to know. If the Dallas Cowboys got off the plane and that bus arrived to that stadium, they were supposed to beat the Jets, period. I told you in the first quarter review, the mark of a great team is how they deal with lesser talent, how they deal with lesser opponents. They should have beat their fucking brains in, and they didn't. Fast forward to right now. The second half of the season is about to start. And you look at this goddamn schedule, and it is fucking brutal. You look at the fact that here you are, you're getting ready to play the Vikings. You're going to the Lions. You're going to the Patriots, and you got the Bills coming in. Probably the win or a team that you would say they would beat would be the Lions. Matthew Stafford is playing out of his goddamn mind. That offense is explosive as it's going to get. That's not an easy W. I wouldn't pin it as a W, because this team hasn't shown me that you can put them against Team B and they just going to do whatever it is they're going to do and win the football game. Dallas just doesn't seem to be built like that. So just like I said, the second quarter is going to show you what this team was. This quarter is going to show you what they're made of. Because there's, I think, in the second half of this Probably think the last 2 games of this 4-game stretch, they played the Patriots and the Bills within 4 or 5 days. You really gonna test the mettle of this team to see what they're made of. Because I can't stress this enough. There are no fucking excuses. Dallas has no excuses, not a fucking one. You've paid the money to put these guys in a position to win. You've accumulated the right amount of talent. You've got good coaches, decent coaches around you. There's no excuse. Everything Dallas needs to win, they have. I don't want to hear shit about this, that, or the third. Don't fucking matter to me. You have enough. If somebody's not getting it done, maybe that motherfucker needs to go, whether it be coach, whether it be player. You have a dominant offensive line. You have a dominant running back. You have a top-tier wide receiver. You have a really, really good front line on defense. You have probably the best duo or even trio linebackers in the league, arguably top 3. You have a young but talented secondary. Show me a hole. Show me a fucking hole. And Dak has progressed as a passer. And I'm one of the people who was religiously on Dak Prescott, saying that he needed to progress. He needed to work on ball placement. His deep ball needed to get better. He needed to be able to read defenses better. All that type of shit. He's gotten better. But you still can't put your finger on this shit. Outside of the schedule, the upcoming schedule, that's one thing that bothers me about Dallas. This Jamal Adams shit. Now, I wanted to come and talk to you all prior to the New York game, but I said, you know what, I'll let this play out and see where it goes. As you probably heard, Dallas was in talks with the New York Jets of acquiring strong safety Jamal Adams from the New York Jets. Pro Bowl player, all-pro caliber player, young guy, still on the rookie contract. I'm talking about tons and tons and tons of talent. It was rumored that, and I don't know if it was confirmed or not, but Dallas offered a first-round pick. The Jets told Dallas, we want something similar to what Jacksonville received for Jalen Ramsey. And I'm okay with that. I don't remember exactly what they got, but it was like a first and a first or a first and a second, something like that. I'm okay with that. That's fine. Dallas said, it's a little too rich for our blood. We good. We'll stick it out with Jeff Heath. Let me get this right. You had an opportunity to not just acquire an up-and-coming safety, but one of the up-and-coming talents in this league, and you said no? Somebody explain to me how this works, because I don't fucking get it. You ever have a friend? You ever had a friend, that friend ugly, and you find somebody for that friend, and you introduce them, and the friend like, nah, I'm good. You better get your ugly ass over there and talk to that goddamn girl. What the hell is wrong with you? With your ugly ass. No, you not good. Your face look like a big toe. Get your stupid ass over there and talk to that goddamn girl with your funny looking ass. That's the same thing about the goddamn Dallas Cowboys. Who the fuck are you to tell somebody I'm good when they're offering you one of the best talents in the league? Of course it was going to be a steep asking price. So fucking what? What were you expecting? The price is different depending on how good you are as a football team. And I'll give you an example. Let's just say the Jacksonville Jaguars came calling the New York Jets and say, hey, I want Jamal Adams. Their asking price for that team would be different versus a team who I don't want to say Dallas is winning, but a team that aspires to win. Because the draft picks in the position of those draft picks are different, meaning they hold different value. So, of course, you're going to have to give up more. I would expect the GM who is searching for some type of job security as it relates to longevity to be scared to make that motherfucking move. Because at the end of the day, if this shit don't pan out and you've given up 2 first-round picks, by the 3rd year, 4th year, you're probably going to be fired. Jerry not firing his goddamn self. He damn sure not firing Steven. So what the fuck are you afraid of? Like, that don't make no goddamn sense. Pull the fucking trigger. We've had this conversation. We've had this goddamn conversation. When the window is open, you dive through it. With no regard for human life, you dive through the fucking window. You give them whatever the fuck they ask for. They ask for Jerry Jones' wife. You box it old hag up and you send her ass packing. You give up whatever you got to give up. Who gives a shit? You want to sit and have a conversation with me about a motherfucking 24 pick? Fuck you and that goddamn pick. What else you want? You want another one? Bet. If you win the Super Bowl, it's the last goddamn pick. Who gives a shit? You have to pay to win. I don't know what simpler way to put that. I don't know any other languages except for profanity, real shit, sarcasm, and English. You have to pay to win. You're either going to pay now or you're going to pay later. But you have to pay to win eventually. Jerry looked like he could die. It's not promised that Jerry is going to wake up tomorrow. He looked like if a gust of wind cut kick in, he probably dead. What the fuck are you waiting on? The clock is ticking. And some of you out there saying, well, they already got the 6th best defense in the league, 7th best defense in the league. What they need Jamal Adams for? Just answered your own goddamn question. If they have a defense that is top 10, imagine what their defense would be if you had a Jamal Adams. You got the 7th ranked defense in the league. Insert Jamal Adams, remove Jeff Heath, who is the weakness on that entire defense, and what the fuck do you have? You have any idea how much Chris Richard and how much Rob Marinelli were able to scheme around offenses and what they be able to do? Offensively, you wouldn't just be able to say we're going to do what we're going to do. You'd be worried about what Dallas is going to do, because a very underrated move, a very underrated trade that they got was Michael Bennett. That's going to pay off in the long run. I guarantee it. As long as he stays healthy, of course. Getting a Jamal Adams was it. I wasn't a fan of giving Earl Thomas all that goddamn money. Just because I didn't know how long he was going to be able to stay on the roster and how he was going to prevent other guys from getting signed who were going to be on the roster longer than him. And you got a guy still in his goddamn rookie contract. And you said no? He's from Dallas. He wanted to come home. He's from the area. And you said no? For what? What good is that? Whomever you pick with that pick or those picks are A, not going to be better than Jamal Adams, or B, not going to be better than Jamal Adams. Pick one. Don't give a fuck who it was. There's a great chance that they might not be better than him. The asking price is supposed to be steep. Look at him. That kid is what time it is. That kid is the truth and a half. He and Derwin James are going to take this league by storm. They're going to reinvent that position. They're generational talents. And I told you all on the Pull the Trigger show, we were talking about the haul that the Lakers the haul that the Clippers sent for Paul George. All them bullshit ass first round picks. You can have all them motherfuckers. Go ahead. What else you want? Yeah, I remember when the Lakers were trying to get Anthony Davis last season, and he sent a fuckload of talent over there. Magic sent everybody but Cookie. And you know what? Her ass can go too. You do what you got to do, man. You do what you got to do. They failed. Clarence Hill, who was a beat writer for the Cowboys and does an absolutely great job of covering that team. He writes amazing articles and he has amazing insight. He was just saying, look for the Cowboys to revisit this in the offseason. Fuck the offseason. Unless that offseason ends with Dallas winning the Super Bowl, they failed. You could go back in this time. You can go back at the end of the season, go back and look at this video, and you can say, I'm saying it for you. The Dallas Cowboys just probably cost themselves not a trip to the Super Bowl, but the trophy itself by not making this move. All because they want to go pick somebody with the 24th overall pick in the draft this year and next year. This shit can't be this hard. It can't. I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I'm frustrated enough. Not with the teams. Fuck all that. I'm just saying, you have a job, you know, and here you are playing it safe. You're being timid. You don't want to strike a deal that you may end up getting kicked in the ass for later. You know, I don't believe in that. If the people around you are not hell bent on winning, you have the wrong fucking people around you. Period. If the people around you are not doing what it takes, are not coming up with innovative ways to win at all costs, you have the wrong people around you. The window to win is now. Tomorrow isn't promised. Do what you got to do to get the job done, people. This is another episode of Don't Fuck This Up. And here you are, fucking this up. You paid Zeke all this money. You paid Lawrence all this money. You're going to pay Amari Cooper. You are going to pay Dak Prescott. The offensive line, Tyron Smith, Zach Martin, what's my man named, Travis Frederick. You just paid Jalen Smith. You are paying these guys all this money. You are investing, not in the team, but to win. That investment doesn't have a cap, baby. It don't fucking stop. You continue to invest until you reach the promised land. The goal is not to win division titles. The goal should be to win Super Bowls. If they prove me wrong, they win a Super Bowl without Jamal Adams, great. Wonderful. You were right. At this very moment, right now, today, you were wrong. And you were wrong as a son of a bitch. That's all the time I'm giving you. That's all the time I'm got. Class is out. I really, really appreciate your time. I really appreciate you all watching me, man. Please, again, leave all the comments. I'm going to get back to you. I guarantee it. I don't mind standing on my soapbox and having a conversation with any goddamn body. Please continue to hit those like buttons for me. Hit those subscribe buttons for me. Also, man, follow me on social media, Instagram, at the Hot Seat 19. Follow me on Twitter at the Hot Seat 19. I appreciate all your time. I appreciate all your support. You are officially off the Hot Seat. Until next time, y'all be good.